Welcome. My name is Michael Lazaroff, and you have dialed into the Smooth Jazz Cruise 24 webinar. We're going to walk through the entire cruise, and we're incredibly excited about doing that. Over 1,000 people have signed up for this webinar, so we're going to wait just a minute or two so that the system can load everybody in, and then we're going to walk through everything that you need to know to have the greatest time ever on our 20th anniversary. Thank you for joining us. We're back. Again, my name is Michael Lazaroff. I am the executive director of Jazz Cruises, and we have been producing the Smooth Jazz Cruise since 2004. We've had over 30 sailings of the cruise, but this upcoming year will be our 20th anniversary of doing the cruise. It's kind of hard to believe. Well, actually, it isn't hard to believe because the program really is a lot of fun. And we've had thousands and thousands of people join us over those years, and we've tried real hard to make sure that the cruise is fun and different and exciting every year. And I think this year is going to be really cool. For those who do not remember, the artists, the headliners, were actually voted in by our guests, and then those headliners, they picked the featured performers, and they picked the backup musicians. We then picked the itinerary, and here we are. So we're ready to go. We're sailing on Celebrity Summit, which is one of the two Celebrity Millennium class ships that have gone through a revolution. If you were sailing with us last year, you were on the other ship that has completed that particular process. There's very few things different between the two ships. There are a couple of venues that are named differently, but in terms of the cabin layout, the venues, every look, you would not know which ship you were on, which is great for us. We absolutely love that ship. It provides us with the greatest venues possible to present the music, and that's the main reason why I guess now it's 7 years ago, we moved from Holland America Line. That was a great cruise line, wonderful, but their venues were just not big enough or adaptable enough for what we do. And being able to use the main dining room on our Celebrity ship as a music venue is just such an amazing bonus. It is a wonderful atmosphere. The sound is great, and it just gives us a different look every afternoon and every night. I am with some of the people here from Jazz Cruises. You're going to hear from them. They're going to give you more of the details and the technical aspects of getting on and off the ship. They absolutely justifiably do not trust me to give that information to you. and we have to make sure that you guys get the right information. We've got 2 sailings of the cruise. 24.1 sails from a Thursday, January 25th to a Thursday, February 1st. 24.2 Thursday, February 1st to February 8th. We are sailing out of Miami, and we are visiting 2 of the great ports, Aruba and Curacao. Recently, federal law causes cruise ships to now travel at a certain speed and only use a certain amount of fuel. It is part of the carbon imprint of the particular cruise. So cruising from Miami or Fort Lauderdale down to Aruba and down to Curacao is not going to be happening again very soon. So you all are very, very lucky. You're going to have a terrific time. It's going to be a great couple of visits. Plus, it gives us 2 days at sea going down and 2 days at sea coming back, which on a normal cruise might be problematic, but on the Smooth Jazz cruise, that just means more music, more fun, more events. So we are pretty excited about that. I'm now going to turn this over to Teresa Dennis. She runs our a reservation process and handles guest relations and guest questions, and she's going to walk you through the online check-in process, your pre-cruise planner, and the boarding requirements to sail. Teresa, welcome.
Thank you. Let's dive right in. Celebrity cruises will require all guests to check in prior to boarding. You will save a lot of time and paperwork in the cruise terminal if you complete this process before the cruise. You can check in online as well as purchase any amenities or packages that Celebrity offers by logging into your Celebrity Cruises account. To access your Celebrity Cruises account, you will need to go to Celebrity's website, which is celebritycruises.com/account. It also appears on your screen as well. Once you have arrived at this site, you will be prompted to either log into your existing account or create a new account with your email address. When you have logged in, you will see the Smooth Jazz Cruise added to your list of upcoming cruises with Celebrity. The online check-in process will open 45 days prior to the cruise and close 3 days prior to embarkation. So this means guests sailing on the Smooth Jazz Cruise 24.1 can complete the online check-in anytime between December 11th and January 22nd. Guests sailing on the Smooth Jazz Cruise 24.2 can complete the online check-in anytime between December 18th and January 29th. The online check-in is very easy. You will log into your Celebrity Cruises account that you created and click Start Check-in. You will want to have your passport, a credit card, and your Celebrity Cruises reservation number handy. The process takes less than 15 minutes. While checking in, Celebrity will ask you to select a window of time that you plan to arrive at the terminal. Everyone will be able to select a half-hour window between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Please do take into account your travel plans when selecting this window of time so that it is as accurate as possible and that you don't, experience any delays in the port. After you complete the online check-in, you will be prompted to download and print a document that we call the Express Pass. This is very important. It is your boarding pass, so do print that after you complete the online check-in. Starting 30 days prior to sailing, Celebrity will allow you to print luggage tags. These can be printed at home. We do recommend attaching these paper tags to your suitcases when you get to the Miami area so that they don't get damaged in transit. So again, 30 days prior to sailing, you will be able to print your luggage tags. This means that guests sailing on 24.1 will be able to print luggage tags starting December 26th, and guests sailing On 24.2, we'll be able to print luggage tags starting January 2nd. Next, we will talk about the pre-cruise planner. The Celebrities Pre-Cruise Planner is a very helpful tool. It is also available in your Celebrity Cruises account. When you log in, you will click the Plan My Cruise button. In the Pre-Cruise Planner, you will be able to make specialty dining reservations, book beverage packages, shore excursions, internet packages, spa treatments, and much more. The Pre-Cruise Planner is available now. It's beneficial to purchase any packages or amenities before you sail because best prices are available now in the Pre-Cruise Planner. If you do choose to wait until you're on board, you will need to visit various locations around the ship, and of course the prices will increase. You can make purchases or modifications or even cancel items that you do purchase up until 2 days before we sail. So I hope that's a lot so far, a lot to digest, but we will move forward to boarding requirements. While preparing for your cruise, you will want to ensure that you have located everything that is essential to board the ship. So the weeks leading up, you want to make sure that you have that you locate your passport. We strongly encourage everyone to travel with a valid passport that expires no less than 6 months beyond the final sailing day of your cruise. That's very important. Again, make sure your passport is valid. Also, it is up to every guest to be aware if a visa is required for travel. U.S. citizens will not require additional documentation to sail or to visit any of the ports of call. The best way to find out if you require any visas to board in Miami or to enter any of the ports of call is to contact the embassy at each of the countries in your itinerary. They will be able to best identify if you need any specific visas, any additional forms, or if there are any fees based on your nationality. Next, we will talk about, again, the Express Pass. Please print that prior to arriving at the pier. It's very important. Again, it's your boarding pass. It's great to have with you and available. Next, you'll want to ensure that you have prepared to pack any medications or supplies that you will need while away from home. If you have specific medical needs, such as storing medicine or needing distilled water, you will want to reach out to Celebrity Cruises Access Department. The Access Department may be reached by phone at 1-866-592-7225. This information is also available to view in the most recent Get Ready that we mailed everyone and also on the website. Be prepared to keep with you any medical supplies in a carry-on bag when you board. This is very helpful. When you arrive at the pier, you will actually hand off your luggage to Celebrity Cruise Line porters that will deliver your belongings to your stateroom on board. Because you will be separated for your luggage for a few hours, it's best to prepare for keeping those items with you. Finally, we will talk about beverages that you can bring on board. Guests are allowed to hand carry on board non-alcoholic beverages, such as bottled water or soda. You are also allowed to bring 1 bottle of wine or champagne per person that is 750 milliliters or less. The cruise line will allow each guest to bring that on board as well.
Embarkation day.
Yes.
Now we're going to talk about the boarding process. Teresa's going to walk you through that real quickly.
Yes. When we will be boarding the ship at Terminal G in the Port of Miami. You can look for Celebrity Summit signage when you arrive, or if you're taking a taxi or Uber, you can just let your driver know that you will be sailing from Terminal G on the Celebrity Summit, and they can easily find your drop-off location. Upon arrival, there are a few steps that you should follow to ensure the best boarding experience. First, please do arrive at the terminal during the window of time that you previously selected. during the online check-in process. It really improves guest flow if everyone arrives during their designated 30-minute window. The cruise terminal opens at 11 a.m. You must be in the terminal no later than 3 p.m. Again, please make sure that you have your passport, your printed express pass, any medications or personal items in hand and easily accessible. When you arrive at the cruise terminal, you will hand your luggage off to Celebrity Cruise porters. They are readily available right outside. Please check that your Celebrity luggage tags are correct. We recommend, again, placing the luggage tags on your luggage before you get to the terminal, but not before you fly to the area, just to make sure that those luggage tags are intact. It's very important to make sure that your stateroom number is accurate. If you forget your luggage tags, let the porters know, and they will be able to place a handwritten tag on your suitcase for you. Again, very important to know or remember your stateroom number so you don't experience any delays in the delivery of your luggage. Please feel free to tip your porter, especially if you received great service. They always appreciate it. After you hand over your luggage, you will enter the cruise terminal and register. This is where you will show your passport, your express pass, any other boarding documents. If you have already completed the online check-in and arrive in the terminal at your pre-selected 30-minute window, the process is incredibly fast. Once you're processed, you'll be able to board the ship when called upon by Celebrity staff. All right. Once you're on board, you can actually go to your stateroom. Most staterooms will be ready for occupancy as soon as you board. So again, be sure to pack any essentials in a carry-on just in case you might want to freshen up before going to explore the ship. When you do get to your room, you will be able to pick up your cruise identification card. It will be inside an envelope in the slot on your door at your stateroom. It will be roughly the size of a credit card. Also, it will either have a blue or red background, which identifies if you will be attending the first or second main stage show each evening. Your cruise identification card is very important. It will function as your room key, your charge card for onboard purchases, and identification card for boarding and disembarking. Your luggage will be that you checked with the Celebrity porters outside the cruise terminal will be delivered to your stateroom by 6 p.m. after it has undergone a TSA-style security check. So you will start seeing items being delivered to everyone's stateroom throughout the day. When you board the ship, you will receive a few items from us, such as a welcome letter. This will be a helpful guide for acquainting you with the ship, identifying locations for various amenities. It will also list important reminders. You will also get a souvenir program, which will be a beautiful keepsake that will feature photos and artist bios, taking an in-depth look at the performers on board. Finally, you will get a custom Smooth Jazz Cruise lanyard that will be the perfect size for storing your cruise identification card. After you have visited your stateroom, we suggest grabbing a bite to eat. The Ocean View Cafe is located on deck 10 and will open at 11:30. It's available to everyone. If you're booked in a suite, you will have the option to dine in Lumine, located on deck 4. This is a private lunch option for guests booked in suites. If you're booked in an Aqua class or concierge class stateroom, you will have a private lunch offered in the main dining room on deck 5. This will be available from 11:30 to 1:30. Also for the suite guests, that lunch will be available from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Okay. Once you're on board, you'll have another opportunity to purchase any amenities or packages from Celebrity Cruises. Again, you can do this now in your Celebrity Cruises account in the pre-cruise planner. But if you are unable to make reservations prior to sailing, the best time to do this will be on board between the sail away party and after you visit your stateroom. Unfortunately, there is no one-stop shop for um, purchasing these various items. Spa reservations can be made at the spa on deck 10. Specialty dining reservations can be set up in the Grand Foyer on deck 3 or in the Ocean View Cafe on deck 10. Beverage packages may be purchased at any bar or with any server. Internet packages, you can actually purchase those by following a set of instructions that will be in your stateroom. Shore excursions will be available to book at the Shore Excursions desk on deck 3. Okay.
Thank you. That's a lot of information, and we're going to keep this webinar outline for you, and also we're going to keep the audio for you. They'll be on the websites. If you want to go through them later, you can also call the office, but that is a lot of information. One of the other things which you are going to do before we sail, in fact, you have to do before we sail, is a mandatory safety procedure, which sounds cumbersome, but it's so much easier than the old days when you had to put on your life preserver and stand in line and all that stuff, or go into the auditorium and wait. You simply have to go to your muster station, and they will talk you through it. There are a bunch of muster stations throughout the ship. You can learn what your muster station is by looking on your cruise identification card. It'll be clearly marked there, and it's also marked on the back of the door of your stateroom, and it's also marked on the life preservers that are in your life jackets that are in your room. That's about a five or a 10-minute a process to go and check in. The ship does not leave until everybody's done that. So it is not an option. It is a mandate, and there'll be lots of announcements to remind you. And I can absolutely attest that the last time that we did this cruise, I was among the very last people to do it because I completely forgot about it because I was on a pre-cruise. And I thought, okay, do I really have to do this again? And the answer is yes, you do. Okay. Exploring the ship, we'd love for you to walk around, see the venues. For those who are familiar with our past cruises on Celebrity, we have the main theater, which is the Celebrity Theater, seats more than half of the guests comfortably. It's on deck 4 and 5 forward. We have the Sky Lounge, which is on deck 10 or 11, which is also forward, and that's a beautiful room that has a panoramic view of the ocean or the dock or the port of call, wherever we are. It is a terrific venue for listening to music. We have the Rendezvous Lounge, which is on deck 4, midship, and that goes from one side of the ship to the other. It has its own stage, its own bar, and it's a terrific jazz club kind of feel to it. We do lots of music there, interviews, autograph sessions, things like that. Then what is really unique for us versus all kinds of other cruises, we are able to use the main dining room, the Cosmopolitan dining room, as a venue. It's actually a fabulous venue. It is horseshoe shaped, and at the bottom of it, or the place where the horseshoe ends, is a 2-deck high glass wall made up of various windows that provides a terrific view and a perfect backdrop for our shows. We have a stage there. That is where the late night shows are, cabaret style. and we have afternoon shows, and we have morning breakfasts. It is a terrific venue. And you can check out all of the dining venues. I'm going to talk about them later, but we have the Cosmopolitan Restaurant, which is the main dining room that serves breakfast and dinner every night and serves lunch when we're at C Lumine, which is a kind of a high-end specialty restaurant, upcharge required. It has 4 or 5 kind of interesting entrees that they rotate every night. Sushi on 5, remarkably, is on deck 5 where they sell sushi. Not a big guessing game there. Tuscan Grill, that is on deck 3. That is the Italian steakhouse. It's a very highly rated a specialty restaurant, and it's really good. It is more of an Italian restaurant than it is a steakhouse, which is why, beginning last year, we created our own concept called Jazz Cruises Chops House. Chops is a play on words, obviously, of music skills, and it's going to be in blue this year. It was so popular that we're moving it to blue, and that's on deck 5. And that is a complete steakhouse. Has a fabulous menu. I think the menu is on the website. In fact, I know it is. And we urge you to make reservations there because that really fills up. But that is really fun. And then there's the Ocean View Cafe, which is on deck 10, and that's the main buffet, self-serve, but it's unbelievably terrific. In the morning, there's 7 kinds of eggs Benedict that you get picked from. The food is very, very good. They have themes, but that is breakfast, lunch, midday, afternoon, dinner, late night. There is pizza and pastas are there almost all the time. And then there is the Pool Grill, which is amazingly located right next to the pool. And that's where they have hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, the usual typical a poolside fare. Okay? So now we're going to talk about the fun part. Okay? You came on this cruise because you love music, and you came on this cruise because you love smooth jazz music and these artists. Well, you're in for a lot of fun because we have programmed this cruise amazingly. We divide all of our events up into 3 categories. In concert, when you see on the schedule something that says in concert, that means that there's going to be live music. Then learn. That could be an interview, that could be a seminar, a workshop, master class, and enjoy, or just parties, things that are just fun. They may have something to do with smooth jazz. They may not. That is just part of our balancing of our program. We have over 200 hours of actual music. Eric Marienthal, who is our music director, has really created a terrific schedule, mixing and matching these artists, and you will see configurations, and you will see players on stage that you would not see on land because they're already on the ship. They're all there, and they can walk in and out of someone's show without there being any legal problems, recording problems, financial, whatever. It is just sort of an open forum. We divide the audience into blue and red, as Teresa indicated. This selection was made when you completed your reservation. If you are if you are holding a blue cruise identification card, that means that you go to the first show. If you have a red cruise identification card, that means you go to the second main show. So every night around 5:30, half of the guests are in the main show and the other half are presumably dining either in the main dining room or in one of the specialty restaurants. And then around 8:30, 9 o'clock, that flips. And those who went to the first show typically go to dinner, and those who have finished dinner now go to the nightly main show. We have lots of activities that are in between there, so that when you're going from the main show to dinner, there's always something to listen to and see, and vice versa. Then around 10:30, quarter to 11, we do what we do best, which is called cruising after dark, where all the venues are open and there are things for you to choose. There'll be another show in the main celebrity theater. There'll be a show in the Cosmopolitan restaurant. There'll be a show in Sky Lounge. There'll be dancing. There'll be all kinds of stuff in the Rendezvous Lounge. The Rendezvous Lounge becomes our late night hang. We have karaoke. We have visitors by the other musicians, listening party, DJ. Just a lot of fun, and as always, food and drink in all of the various venues. It's really kind of cool. You can do as much or as little as you want every single night, but you're going to have lots of choices every single night. And a couple of nights we have parties by the pool. Okay? The entertainment talent. You voted for these people. So the hosts are Marcus Miller and Boney James, and are starring Jeffrey Osborne. Jeffrey Osborne is a special guest. He'll be on the second half of the first cruise and the first half of the second cruise. So he's sailing for about a week. He is just dividing it between the two cruises. Everybody else is on for the whole week of each cruise. And that's Brian Culbertson, Candy Dolfer, Norman Brown, Richard Elliott, Vincent Ingala, Jonathan Butler, Rick Braun, Mindy Abair, Peter White, and DW3. Those are the stars. Alonzo Bowden, who's been our comic host for many, many, many years, will be back. Eric Marienthal is our music director. Watercolors Talaya does event hosts, and she does interviews. She's a terrific person. We have some featured performers: Marcus Anderson, Larry Braggs, Ms. Monet, Marquel Jordan, Grace Kelly, Ivan Perotti, and Patches Stewart. And we've got three of the most amazing bands ever, and they are comprised of Wes Bird, Colin Clausen, David Dyson, Richie Garcia, Munyango Jackson, Randy Jacobs, Jerry Johnson, Arlington Jones, Lamar Jones, Nate Phillips, Chris Mescal, Kevin Turner, Jay Williams, and Omari Williams. And these guys work hard, and they play with all these guys. No one plays the track on this cruise. They all play with a live backup band. Their songs are rehearsed. They all get together in Los Angeles for 5 days of rehearsal prior to the cruises, and it is a professional operation. All of our shows begin on time, end on time, and we have a lot of fun doing them. That's you're going to see and hear just amazing music. Non-music events. Autograph and recording signings. one of our traditions is that you'll receive a poster which is suitable for framing that most of the guests use to get all of their autographs. We have sessions for that. If you ever come to St. Louis and visit our office, that's how we decorate the office. The office is filled with posters from each and every one of our cruises. We actually don't need nearly the amount of space that we've taken, but we have to have room for the posters. There'll be a CD listening parties. Culbertson's going to have one. Boney Chain's going to have one. Jonathan Butler's going to have one. Marcus Miller will have one. We have really cool interviews, and these are artists that will be interviewed either by a Talaya or a fellow musicians. And they are really, really a lot of fun. 7 nights of themes. Some of them invite you to be creative with your attire. Welcome to the Smooth Jazz Cruise. That is the first night, and basically all you have to do there is to show up. The next night is Jersey night, which has nothing to do with that state immediately below New York, but that is jerseys. You're going to wear. We ask you to wear a jersey of your favorite sports team, part of the country, cause, whatever suits your fancy. But you're going to make a statement about yourself by doing so. Black and white night. We want everyone to dress in either all black, all white, or black and white. Just that simple. Ladies' Day and Night, we have a whole bunch of wonderful activities to honor the ladies on board. We have a walk for the cure. We have a special luncheon, and we have lots of interviews about what it means to be a lady in the a world of jazz, etc. Breeze and Night is just our tribute to the Caribbean. It is a sail away night, and that'll be our party night out by the pool. Platinum 20th anniversary night, that is formal night. Formal night, back in the day when we first started this cruise, actually meant tuxedos and ball gowns. And most of the guys look like heck in those ball gowns. So we stopped doing that. And it became suits and ties. And now it's just really kind of upper scale, like you're going out to dinner, is a jackets without ties, and women get away with almost anything. They just have to look good, which they always do. And it's just one night to get just a little more dressed up. We do a lot of photos, and we're going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary that night. And then the final night is Thank You Night, where we just thank you guys for your support and your loyalty and participating in this cruise. We fully recognize that sailing on this cruise is a tremendous commitment of both time and resources, and we take very seriously our obligation and our responsibility to provide you with the absolute best cruise vacation possible. That's why we have this a webinar. We want you to learn as much as you can about the cruise prior to getting on the cruise, so that you can spend your time when you're on the cruise having fun and not worrying about a whole bunch of different things. We want you to be very, very familiar. And for those who are sailing for the first time, just hook up with one of the millions of folks who have sailed with us many, many times, and they will take you and make sure that you do everything correctly. It shouldn't be hard to find. Over almost now 20,000 people have sailed on our cruises 5 or more times. So finding those people shouldn't be difficult. Finding the new people is extremely easy. On the first day, they're the ones with the maps. of walking around the cruise ship. That's easy. Okay. We do game shows. We have some really cool game shows that involve both passengers and the artists. The comedy of Alonzo Bowden. Alonzo's been with us. I can't remember the last cruise that he wasn't on, and he's absolutely funny. But he, more than anything else, he embraces of the cruise. He becomes part of the cruise family, and he's just wonderful. Last year, I actually brought a pickleball setup, and we put it on the basketball court. A celebrity cruise line known for their originality and ingenuity now make pickleball part of their everyday activities. I think they kept my set too, by the way, but we'll find out. Ladies' Day events, we have talked about that. We have a morning coffee talk where you just come down to the rendezvous and coffee, and there are people that are going to talk about topics. If you come on the Saturday, I'll be there talking about the Weekender. We will read the Weekender together responsibly, just like church, and that'll be fun. We have a heroes breakfast where we honor our servicemen and women and our first responders. You will get more info about that shortly. But it's a very touching and a very important event for us. We recognize that a lot of people have made a lot of sacrifices so that we can do these cruises, and we want to honor our servicemen and our first responders. Non-music questions. Attire. Yes, you must dress. There are other cruises for that. This is not one of them. We want you to be comfortable. That is the most important thing. It is, and I hate terms like business casual or country club casual. It isn't country club anything, but it is. Please be comfortable, particularly with your shoes. You're going to walk, even if all you do is just go to the various shows, you're going to wind up walking way more than you would normally do during the course of a day. So you really need comfortable shoes. We do have that one night where we ask you to dress up a little bit, and we have those theme nights where certain kinds of attire are suggested. Photographs and a recording. Recording the shows or taking a flash photographs of any show is absolutely prohibited for all kinds of reasons. In terms of photographs, we hire some of the best music photographers there are, and we take thousands of pictures, and at the end of the cruise, you'll be able to download those from the website for free. And I will bet a pretty good amount of money that those photos are better than anything that the individual passenger could take. This does not mean that walking the ship, taking a selfie or pictures of your friends, and for the most part, the artists are cooperative with that. We're going to talk about when is the best time to actually do that shortly. A recording the shows is not allowed, and it's a very complicated process to monitor because devices these days are so sophisticated you really can't tell when somebody is recording or when somebody isn't. However, under no circumstances, even if you're just taking non-flash photography using a phone, you cannot impair the a line of sight of the people behind you in the auditorium. Keeping that phone above your head or eyesight, we're going to stop that, because that isn't fair. To be kind of open about this, I don't see why anybody would pay all this money to go to a cruise and see a show and watch the entire show through a phone. It just doesn't make sense to me. People do it. You can do it. You can take those pictures, but you cannot interfere with the enjoyment or the view of everyone else. Talking to musicians, they're very good about interacting with you. We ask, though, that you not interfere with them when they're setting up in the various venues or immediately after, when their show is over. We take that time to either prepare for the show, clean up after the show, getting ready for the next show, and that kind of congregating around the individual stages throws our calendar off, and we really believe that it is important to our guests that every show begin on time and every show end on time. We do not, quote, run late, quote. Okay. Merchandise, autograph, spot shop. We've been talking about that somewhat. Autographs, we're going to have autograph sessions. I have mentioned the poster. You can buy merchandise. You can buy spot. And most of these guys bring on CDs. We are trying to have them present them in a CD signing format that is a little more intimate. And there's all kinds of shops on the ship: jewelry, clothing, photography, electronics, fragrances, just everything that you probably don't need, but you're going to buy anyway. So enjoy it. Rules and procedures for show seating. We've got 2,000 people. No venue holds 2,000 people. That's why we have a blue and red, so that everybody can conveniently and fairly and safely have a great seat to see the main shows. All the other shows are first come, all the shows are first come, first serve. And you can queue up. We just ask that there are some rules that you need to follow so that everybody has the opportunity to see the shows and to enjoy themselves. And our goal, though impossible, is to minimize time that you are standing in line and to honor that line. In other words, if in fact you're the fourth in line, I want to make sure you're the fourth person inside the theater. So we are taking some steps to that. So here are the universal rules. These are the rules that apply to any and all shows. All seating is first come, first served. The only exceptions are for the nightly main shows in the celebrity theater. Those are the blue-red shows. There are other shows in a celebrity theater. There's always a late night show. There's some afternoon shows. There are some morning shows. Those are not blue-red shows. Those are completely first come, first served. But for the nightly main shows, we make sure that half the people go to one show and half the people go to the other show. You will not, if you have a red card, you will not be admitted into a show that is for a blue cruise identification holders. every show is performed twice. It may not be performed twice on that same night, but everybody will be able to see every show. Okay? Once inside the venue, you are permitted to save one seat. I don't think that everybody in the past has understood what that could mean. What that means is if I am queuing up and I'm standing in line, me and my wife do not have to stand in line together to get our seats. I could be in line, she could be in line, and then when we get in, we're going to save a seat for the other. I can tell you absolutely, my wife prefers not standing in line with me. But this should reduce the length of the line and should reduce some of the angst. You are free to stand in line two people. And one other, I'm going to say trick, it isn't a trick, but one other tip is let's say that two couples are traveling together. One night the guys stand in line and they hold seats for the ladies, and the next night the ladies stand in line and they hold seats for the guys. Or what is probably the case, the guys stand in line every night and they hold the seats for the ladies. But we are trying to make that entry line as easy to identify and to control as possible. We're going to have more ushers. We're going to have stanchions. We're going to try to make sure that people don't jump the line. We call it surging. You'll be in line and there's 5 people ahead of you, and all of a sudden a door's open, and it is like a pop-a-shot. 12 people pop up. Okay, we are trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Once the show begins, and this is either in the main theater or in any other venue, you cannot save a seat. All seats become available, whether that's the seat that you're holding, whether that's a reserve seat, whatever it is. Okay. Now, obviously, if that person has gone to the restroom or something like that, that would be different. But if that person is not coming by that time, that's free. And when the shows are over, please exit the venues. Okay, so we can clean up, so we can prepare, so that we can get things ready for the next group. The nightly main show seating is a little bit different. These are the 7 main shows that you see during the week. Blue Red. For these shows, we have a SAFE program. That is seating assistance for entry. You can go online, look up the SAFE program, and apply. This is usually for people who are disabled and are in a wheelchair or some form of assisted seating process. We have designated areas, and we have designated procedures for that. A reserve seating, yes, there is reserve seating. For those who are unfamiliar with our reserve seating procedure, it's actually pretty simple. Anyone who has sailed 10 or more times has the right to select one of our reserve seats. That seat will have a sash on it that will say that it is reserved. It'll either have a name or a number that will correspond to that particular person's seat name. And so, again, it is a reserved seat. You don't own the seat. It is reserved for you and your use. Once the show begins, any reserved seat that is not filled becomes open. Now, there are some myths regarding reserved seats. First of all, The second show of 24.1. So that would be people with red cards going in a 24.1. That has the most reserved seats, and that is barely over 15%. Okay? Plus, when we allocate the reserved seats, we jump rows, not all. The first 10 rows are not reserved seats. Maybe row 1, 3, 5, 7. So if you are queuing up, you are still going to be able to get a terrific seat. We've tried to balance between honoring those guests who have sailed with us for a long period of time and guests who haven't, who are ready to queue up. Having said all that, if you do not have a reserved seat, and if you're not just absolutely dedicated to getting a seat in the second row or the fourth row, if you wait just a few minutes after a door's open, there's generally no line, and it's very easy to get a seat. To that end, for this year, we have extended the length of time between the doors opening and the beginning of the show. Part of the crunch was because we used to do this in a 20-minute period. Now it is 45 minutes at least. So you can go in there, and we're going to have entertainment there. When you get there early, you can have a drink, but it should be a more leisurely and a less intense process. Okay, that's a lengthy explanation, but it's something important because we don't want this to become a problem. It is. People have offered all kinds of seating suggestions to us over the years. And the process that we have right now is a sort of like democracy. It doesn't always work, but it's a hell of a lot better than every other system that we've thought about. The theater is not conducive to numbering every seat and somebody having a ticketed seat. It changes too much. It is where the seats are and all that. It would be impossible. And we think that this is the proper blend of fairness. Okay. Dining, included dining, which I sort of talked about. The Ocean View Cafe, Cosmopolitan Restaurant, Spa Cafe, Pool Grill, specialty dining, Tuscan Grill, Lumine, Sushi on 5. I did forget Le Petit Chef at Cuisine. This is in the center of the ship, deck 11. It's a very funky, kind of cool looking restaurant, limited menu, good food, and they have I don't know what to call it. They have an animated cartoon presentation that is a part of the meal. And if you haven't seen it, it's clearly worth doing it once because it really is clever. And even some of the most jaded people I've ever taken up there, they all have their phones out and they're all taking pictures of it. So it really is fun. Celebrity has told us that they now have 7 such animations so that you could see a different one every night. Anybody who goes to that more than once or twice needs to come see me because I have some meds that you would enjoy. There's no reason to do it more than once. It is fun. The food's good. It is, you know, it's really for kids and families, but it is fun, you know, and it's something different. Okay. Room service. They now charge $9.95 for room service. Okay, that is new. I'm gonna give you my room service speech, which I give every year. Lots of people believe that having room service breakfast is part of being on a cruise, and without that, they're really not on a cruise. And I respect that. And if you want to do that, that is terrific. But if you'll find me on the ship, I'll show you where the kitchen is, and I'll show you where your room is. And it's a pretty good distance. And then we'll take a look at the cart where they put all the trays. And there's about 20, at least. The odds of that breakfast coming to you hot and the way that you want it is fairly remote. Again, there are many, 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 many people who think that that's, you know, part of the cruise, and I respect that. To me, room service is when you're not feeling well, or if you want to take a nap, or something like that. I can tell you that the $9.95 charge is probably intended by the cruise line to discourage room service. It takes a lot of people to make room service work, and that staffing is changing every day on the ship. Okay, so that's room service. Okay? Lots of people go up to the Ocean View Cafe, fill up a tray, and then bring it down to their room. It's twice as fast. Okay? And it doesn't cost $9.95. Takeaways. Okay, we've told you a whole bunch of stuff today. You're not going to remember all of it, but there are certain things that I really want you to hone in on. Number one, make sure that your passport is valid and that you know where it is. Do that today, okay? Because if in fact there's a problem, you're going to have time to change it. Trying to get a passport during the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, is got to be nearly impossible, okay? So you have to do that. Complete the online registration as soon as that service is activated. Complete as many purchases and reservations as you can before boarding the ship. Trying to get all this done on the ship will be annoying. You're going to go from one line to the next. Be alert to our announcement of the performance schedule. You will receive the performance schedule before the cruise goes. You'll be able to see when every event is, when every performer is performing. It will be on the website. We're going to email it to you directly, and there's lots of other ways that we're going to give you the schedule. For those who have sailed with us in the past, there is a difference in our souvenir program this year. We are not putting the performance schedule in the souvenir program. Why not? Because we are going to print with the souvenir program on November the 20th, which is a full 2 months prior to when these cruises sail. And the odds of those schedules being accurate is zero. So we wind up confusing people and wind up telling people, you know, don't look at it. So we're not putting it in, but we're going to have lots of different ways to go through the performance schedule. Be sure to allow extra time to reach the cruise terminal and arrive during the time You selected, except for one night, the cruise is casual. Be comfortable. Okay? A choice of clothing should reflect the fact that irons and steamers are not allowed on the ship, and the ship's dry cleaning is slow and expensive. Okay? So Google Lululemon and Peter Millar and all those things like that and fill your suitcase. If you plan on dining with a particular group of guests, be sure to properly submit your group dining information. Okay? We can make that work, but we have to have the information. Take a moment to decide how you wish to spend your time when you are in port. We are going to two very cool places, Aruba and Curacao. Shortly, we'll be sharing some information. I've done some personal research on the beaches in Aruba. They are gorgeous, and they each have their own little special element to it, and I'll be sharing that with you all soon. Try as hard as you can to leave your work, your obligations, and your worries at home, okay? But be sure to pack your smile, a love of music, and most of all, your humanity. And we'll all have a great time. Two other items, okay? At this time, Celebrity and a CDC have no requirements regarding any vaccinations or proof of vaccinations for a COVID or any other disease for that matter. I just had my a vaccination for a brand new vaccination. I am not a doctor. We are not dispensing medical information, but I have been told that this particular vaccination is not a booster. It is a vaccination for the current virus, and that if you have taken every other shot and you don't take this shot, that doesn't work. Furthermore, if you've never taken any shot, but you take this shot, that does work. Okay? So we really urge you to do that. This could change on a dime. Okay? But right now, and we ask them every day, there are no vaccination requirements to board the ship. Okay? The ship's staff and crew will all be vaccinated. Every single one of them will be vaccinated, and they will be tested almost every other day. So we do have that. Okay? Next, November 17th, you all are booked on the Smooth Jazz Cruise 2024. There are 2,400 people on the wait list for this cruise. 2,400. Okay? Kind of crazy. You ought to put your cabin on eBay and it makes money. You have until the 17th of this month to rebook your stateroom, your current stateroom, for 2025 at favorable prices. After that date, if you have not done that, your stateroom goes into inventory, and we begin a process within about 3 or 4 days thereafter of offering all of those staterooms to people who have completed a pre-sale reservation for the 25 cruise. At this point, over 1,000 reservations have been completed. That's a ship. That's a whole ship. So, and I'm not saying that every one of them is going to wind up reserving a stateroom, but that's a whole ship. So if you do plan on sailing on 25, we urge you to complete your reservation so that you can understand that we're just trying to work through the system so that everybody has a fair shot. If you as a guest on 24 rebook for 25, anytime until halfway through your 24 sailing, you can cancel that reservation and get a full refund. Okay, so we're not trying to lock you into anything. We're just trying. There's a whole bunch of people that are just trying to make plans who aren't sailing on a 24, and they don't want that to happen again. So we're trying to balance that. So if you even think you have an inkling that you want to sail again, and it's a great cruise, by the way, it's a terrific lineup. We are very excited about it. Anyway, so that's that. Have we answered all the questions, Heather? Heather's here too, by the way.
Hi, we are keeping up with those questions. A couple we're taking offline and we'll respond accordingly.
Okay.
One of the questions is the temperature on the ship.
Yeah. There will be a temperature on the ship.
And if it's hot or cold or how people feel.
I got to tell you, regulating the temperature on the ship is always fascinating to me. It's a big ship. It's very, very difficult. I always tell guests to address in layers. Okay. There are parts of that ship at times that are so cold that you can't even type. Okay. Then there are times when it's hot, and usually when you board in Miami, it's going to be hot that day because the doors have been open and closing, and there's a lot of sun beating down, and it really depends upon where you are within the ship. So I think layers is the only way to go. What else?
We have a guest asking about wearing past cruise t-shirts.
Absolutely. In fact, you're going to get a note that for the anniversary party, there'll be special prizes for those wearing past cruise T-shirts, and we have a whole list of categories that we're going to be honoring. Okay. I know I use them as a pajama tops, so I have a whole bunch that's kind of hanging around.
We have some guests asking if you'll be bringing back the gospel hour.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, except, well, yes and no. It isn't an hour. It is 90 minutes. Jonathan Butler's gospel show is a 90 minutes, and they are already producing elements of it right now. There is a gospel hour on almost every cruise that we do. Almost when we did Elvis, there was a gospel hour. When we did, all kinds of cruises. Okay. It actually began on the Jazz Cruise, which is our straight ahead jazz cruise. Okay, Wycliffe Gordon has been the host of that for over 20 years.
We had a guest ask if we'll be coming back to Terminal G after the cruise, and that the answer to that is yes for both 24.1 and 24.2.
We will be. And we'll all be tired. We will be 3 pounds heavier, and we will have a whole bunch of dirty clothes.
We have a guest asking about food accommodations, such as vegetarians. Teresa, can you answer how a guest would notify us of that information?
Yes, if you have any specific dietary needs, you will want to actually get in touch with the access department with Celebrity Cruises. They will be able to better inform you what options will be available. They will also be able to assist with making a specific meal request or options for you throughout the week to ensure that the proper foods are available to you on board the ship.
And I can attest to the fact that a Celebrity takes that pretty seriously. They're amazingly accommodating, but you have to give them notice and the opportunity to be ready. Okay.
A guest asking if we have hotel recommendations for Miami. Teresa, could you answer that one?
Yes. We emailed that information earlier this year, but you can actually locate that on the Booked Guest tab on the website. So you want to go to the smoothjazzcruise.com, click on where it says Booked Guest, and then you will see, you will click on the option that says Pre-Cruise Hotels. In transportation, there will be a list of hotels in the Miami area.
Also, we have a question that's in regards to 25 and looking ahead. If we're rebooking, is it possible to get an upgraded stateroom?
One of the options is to request an upgraded stateroom during that period of time. During that period of time between on November 17th and when we start with the waves, we will be addressing those requests. Certainly, as a guest on 24, you have a much better chance of doing that than if you wait until later.
We have a guest asking if there'll be a barber on the ship.
Yep, all kinds. They have a full salon, beauty shop, but they always have good barbers. And I'm on for 5 weeks, so I always wind up getting some kind of haircut, and they do a nice job. About it. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to join us. Again, we believe that the more that you know, the better vacation you're going to have. And this is the time to ask questions. Email us, call us. There is one adage that we live by, and we're going to share it with you. Everything that you want to try to do on the ship is three times more difficult and takes 3 times longer than if you do it now. So being prepared, having things ready, knowing where you're going, having your reservations, knowing what you're going to do when you're in port before you get on the ship is really going to make your vacation so much nicer. And don't be afraid to ask us questions, because we are more than happy. That's what we do. We are here to make sure that your cruise vacation and your Jazz Cruises vacation are perfect. Okay. Thank you. Be safe, and we cannot wait to see you on the ship. And don't forget, November 17th is the upset date for a rebooking for for a 2025. Thank you.